Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we are tying the Franc and Snaelda, as you can see, and it's the big red. Certainly towards the back end of the Atlantic salmon season here in the UK, and the fish are moving into more of a spawning phase. Red's certainly well known as a pattern that's highly productive, and this is certainly one of the top productive patterns whenever you're fishing in those sort of closing weeks and months. So very much designed to have a lot of movement, a lot of vibration in the water, and get the attention of those fish that are becoming a little bit more territorial. So let's jump straight into it. So in the vise, folks, we've got a 25mm Stanton brass tube with the grooves in it. Really good for this sort of pattern. Got a little bit of silicone tubing on the back that will hold your hook in place already, and we've got a little bit of a fluoro pink inner tubing, which is fairly standard on this sort of fly. Just going to start off by putting a little bit of super glue on this front joint between these two tubes. Last thing you want is this to be pulling apart when you get to the final stages. So also going to come in at this point with some Uni 80 in fire orange. Just suits the style and colour code of the fly, so we're going to use this. So I've just wound the thread to the back into that last groove, and that's really where you're going to start. So first up, we're going to come in with, probably to no surprise, some red bucktail. Just line this up in your fingers, make sure you've got the ends where you want them, and you're probably going to have several, let's say, clumps of this sitting ready to go. Pick your length. I'm going to probably just go about half tube length over the back, maybe towards tube length over the back here, and then come up and catch this on top and let it roll a little bit. You definitely want this to roll a little bit as you come round, and just catch that in place. And then effectively on the other side, you're going to come in with another amount of the red bucktail and do the same thing, so you've got full circular coverage of the tube. And then you can tighten down on that. And then at this stage, what you want to do is start to bring your thread forward, tightening down on this, making sure it's nice and firm on the fly. And then all this excess, you want to trim it away at a taper. Okay, cool. Once you've cut your taper, you can tidy up and bring your thread forward. I would definitely recommend spending some time on this taper because it will pay in the later stages of tying this fly. And then just come back up at this stage. Don't need to come all the way back up, but most of the way back up. Okay, next we're going to come in with some crystal flash, just 2 or 3 strands, totally up to yourself. Whatever you want to do, it doesn't need to be overly exact, so just coming in, catching it on the side. So I'm coming down with a couple of turns, and then I'm going to cut this at that point, and I'm going to leave a little bit for more catching in further down, and then the piece that I've cut off I will use on the other side also. And again, going to leave this a little bit longer and catch this in as I come down next time. Okay, good stuff. Next up, we're coming in with some boar bristles. Again, nice big long bristles at this point, give you that vibration in the water, and certainly give the salmon something to think about. So just catching 4 of these in round about, using a sort of reddy brown colour and keeping with the flight. Just a couple of turns at this point, just get them on. Okay, and when you've done that, you can come in and snip away your excess pieces. And then just tidy up, make sure those are nice and locked in. On the way back up, I wouldn't come all the way back up at this stage because you're going to be tying in a hackle, so you're going to want to catch this in on the way back. So unsurprisingly, we're coming in with a red hackle. It's just a red genetic cock hackle. Use whatever you've got. And just come back up to where the bucktail starts, effectively. Going to be using and looking for a couple of turns. You can use a hackle plier at this point, but this is quite long, so I'm just going to do it by hand. And you want to sweep everything back and just tidy up. Okay, and then you can snip away this excess piece that you don't need. Alright, good stuff. You want to bring your thread forward now, so again, just make sure everything's nice and tidy. As tidy as it can be. And what we're going to do is we're going to come in with some small oval tinsel, and also at the same time we're going to catch in, this is a red, unsurprisingly, chenille that will form the rib and the body on this fly. So just catching it near the front. Again, the reason for this is it will give that body a nice balance whenever you bring it back down. You don't want it to be lumpy or bumpy, and obviously chenille's quite a thick fibre, so I wouldn't be catching this halfway up. Then just wind this back up all the way up against the hackle that you've just caught in. Okay, when you get to that point, you can bring your thread back down, nice touch and turns, getting everything locked in nice and tight. And up first, you're going to bring the red chenille down the body. And then just catch it in at the front, nice and tight, good couple of turns. And then you can snip away the excess. Okay, now at this stage you want to bring your rib down. You can probably look to counter rib. Not always easy winding wire over chenille, but we'll see how it goes. And again, just catch this in at the front, couple of turns, and lock it in place. And then come in and cut that away. Okay, good stuff. What I'm going to do at this point is just add another little bit of super glue in at the front, just to lock everything in place that we've tied in so far. Okay, cool, good stuff. Right, we're going to come back in with another red cock hackle, basically the same as the one that we've already tied in. Just catching this on at the front, a good couple of turns, get it locked in. And again, similarly, just going to start this off by hand. I've actually caught in some of the softer fibre that you would find at the bottom as well. Not a bad thing for this sort of fly, will certainly add to and give a bit of movement. So again, just getting some turns in, relatively dense but not over the top. Then just catch this in when you're happy with what you've got. You can look to start to fold this back, get a couple of turns in, and then chop away this excess piece. And tidy up. Okay, cool, we're on the home straight. Last thing to really go on before the conehead is some jungle cock. So you can decide on length for yourself. I like to keep these quite long on this pattern. Just catching them on, a couple of turns. Then just tighten up. Then come in and snip away this excess, as long as you don't move the jungle cock around too much. You'll be able to get away with it because you're going to super glue over that thread, so you don't need to worry too much about folding back. You can do if you want. I'm not going to at this stage. Just get a couple more turns in just to firm this up. And then I'm going to come in and whip finish. Okay, then come in, add a little bit of super glue all around the front, get some on the tube and certainly onto those thread turns. And then get your preferred conehead. As you can see, I've gone with something that's very red. Slide it on, push it back nice and firm onto the tube, hold it for a couple of seconds and then you can release it. Trim this front bit of tube down to about 2mm, I would say, and then come in and melt the front piece. Take your needle and just make sure that hole is in place for when you want to use the fly to get your fluorocarbon through it. So there you have it, folks, the big red Franc Snaelda. If the salmon are after something big, in your face and red, this will certainly do the job. lots and lots of movement and vibration through this fly. Certainly very good towards the back end of the season. When the fish have been in the river for a while, they're getting a bit territorial. Get this in their face and they'll no doubt take a swipe at it and hopefully get you a fish. As always, hit the bell, subscribe, drop a comment, all that good stuff. Be good to hear from you. Until next time, cheers.